Hello, everyone. Flynn and I here to go over pick 102 with you guys. So, obviously, Caleb Williams going yesterday to Rick, and now Flynn is on the clock. And it's a big mystery. Lots of different options here for you at 102. Flynn, go ahead, let us know who you're going to rock with here at 102.
Will be shocking to many people, but the pick is going to be Blake Corum. I'm just kidding. Marvin Harrison Jr., of course. Who else would it be?
Yeah. Um, who else would it be? I think is exactly the way to say it. We were talking a second ago. Super excited he went to the Cardinals. Obviously very excited that he's here at 102. Was that the sole purpose of your trade, was to go get a position of need and to get the guy on your team? Or were you thinking about 102 moving up anyway, no matter what happened, really?
Um, I thought about it, like whatever happened, but like the big draw, him going to the Cardinals, and just the extra level of excitement having a guy on my fantasy team and my pro team at the same time, and just like such an exciting kind of big time generational type of player. You
Right.
know, I couldn't pass that up. And fortunately, Chase was, he wasn't playing too much of hardball with that pick. He was very willing to deal that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go pull up the trade again just for funsies because I can't remember specifically what it was, but I remember it came through and it was immediately one of those. Sometimes you have trades and it just gets everybody in the chat all upset.
Yeah,
Whereas it was one that when it came through, it was just like, I like this for everybody involved, right? Um, oh boy, the fucking you and I think, are the two that are most loud about how much we hate the sleeper platform with certain things. You with the search function. I've never seen anybody mention how much they need a search function, even though we all know it, except for you. And every league that I'm in with you, you said it at least once this week.
it's
And
so fucking and like you cannot find anything that's more than like a couple months old. Like
yeah,
in the other league where that guy didn't think he traded his pick.
yeah.
I
And
had
then
to
you
look.
scrolled for 20 minutes to go find it. I'm gonna have to use my cell phone to pull up exactly what it was because the computers aren't real. Um, But no, I do genuinely remember as I pull it up to talk about it that it was a good trade for both of you guys. Um, and it was 102, and you got 311 back for your first next year, as well as this first. Oh my God, my room is going to start talking.
Yeah,
Um,
it's actually Cam Boone's first next year. So
it's Cam's first next year. Okay, so that's not, yeah. Good. Thank you for clarifying because that was going to be the next question I had was, your team, and we'll get there, hasn't had the most success, so that could be an early first. But with Cam, I'm assuming you're banking on that being a playoff-ish first. So really, it's 104 and a 25, 107, 108, 109, unfortunately, as opposed to,
oh,
what was that? I missed it. I'm sorry.
maybe the 112. Go Cam.
Yeah, right.
I think I might have to root for him this year just to lessen the pain of giving the pick up.
Yeah. What a scary world it has become when we're rooting for Cam to win or have success.
Um,
um, but you know, did you getting 311 back, was that important to you, or was that just kind of like a throw in to get something, or how did that? Because I feel like 311 is just kind of sitting there like, why am I here? Whose idea was it to kind of add that piece into it?
throw in. I don't remember if it was me or Chase that kind of threw that in, but I think it was just to balance it out a little bit more.
Yeah,
Um, I don't think the trade would have hinged on it on my end. Like I really just wanted that 102.
right, and it worked.
So it was
Uh,
nice to get something back because I didn't really have much out of the first round
yeah,
in this draft.
Yeah, no,
So
and it is a deeper class, right? So I think people that are falling to the mid late third, usually are early late seconds, or early third, late seconds. So I think the value of it moves up too, which is nice. And to kind of sell a first that isn't yours even in the future, and you've still got two more firsts next year, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that, or is
I
that
think
more
I'm
now?
down to my first, only my first. Because I think I sold off the one that I have, Zoe Scoop's pick.
Yeah, yep, you're right.
Trade.
Yeah, you sold it back to
Yeah.
the
Trade
project. Yeah.
it.
That's a tricky one though, right? So it's similar to me and Chase, right? I was trying to get Chase my pick back from Chase, and he's like, "No, I think your team's going to suck." And so it's like, all right, well, I'm going to push for it then this year. So
Maybe it was the six first that I had it. I don't even remember anymore.
yeah,
I'm bad at keeping track of this. Too many leagues, man.
yeah, I know amen to that. But so that gave Project the freedom to almost say, cool, I'm see you guys in the toilet bowl at the end of this year, which is always nice to have one less person in the competition. But you are correct. So you have your entire class next year, nothing extra, nothing less. Um, so where do you think that puts your team next year, right? So we came out of the first season where you were, I think, the first to kind of say, cool, it's over. I'm going to sell some stuff pretty early on. And then we came into last year. I thought you were a playoff team or a at least extra pick bracket team. I remember Cam with the bold prediction of the entire the entire Ryan Leaf division was a playoff team. But statistically speaking, you have the least winning team in the league. Do you think this is your year, like your stereotypical Cowboys fan? Are you a little bit more in between? Realignment happens after the season too, right? So you're going to be the quote unquote weakest team in that division when you're on your upswing. So talk me through your headspace and what your team's plan is and your direction here.
So, just the short answer is I don't. A lot of the season's going to kind of hinge on what happens with Bryce Young and Will Levis. Because I'm just kind of riding the young quarterback train.
Right.
Bryce Young, I think a lot of that his team around him. Will Levis, he's showed some flashes, and they put some good weapons around him now. So, if those guys kind of take a jump, then I could have a competitive team. And if they don't, then I'm going to be a feeder again.
At what point in time do you consider trying to sell them and start over, right? Because your quarterback room is scary. The cursed best contract in the league with Daniel Jones, and then you obviously mentioned Young and Levis, who both should take steps, right? I mean, their teams have put weapons around them. I think maybe Levis a bit more so than Bryce Young, but I mean, Deontay Johnson going to the Panthers, then Calvin Ridley to Tennessee. Tennessee also selling Tyler Boyd in a depth piece. I still like some of the receivers that Carolina has as well, but Daniel Jones getting Odunze. So this is also just, I feel like the lowest Daniel Jones has been valued. I'm not a Daniel Jones believer, but I feel like people are also taking him like way too low or considering him way too low. Do you share that sentiment, or do you think that this is his last year before they look for a replacement type thing?
So I think it's for him to rebound. And I think when you were talking best contract in the league last year, a lot of it was kind of baked into price, right? Because even if Daniel Jones just completely falls on his face again, loses the job, his cap hit is so low.
Right.
It's not going to really hamstring the team. I can move on from him relatively easy, just like the Giants can.
Right.
So, and that was always part of my thought process is, if this isn't real, if that strong finish from him a couple years ago to Mirage, I can just get rid of him down the line.
Yeah.
But there's so much value in this league and any Superflex league, and just having starting quarterbacks or quarterbacks that are in line to potentially start. So it's worth the gamble still.
Yeah. But he's also one of those ones that if he doesn't do well, some team will say, I can fix him, like we all have with a girl in the past. And he could probably easily go somewhere that has some trouble and kind of do the Sam Darnold route where he's now competing for a job in Minnesota or whatever that looks like, or Gardner Minshew, where he's still going to go somewhere and have a chance. And to your point, you've got no dead cap. Obviously, this year you've got some. You've rolled basically the equivalent of Mac Jones over. But you've got no dead cap in any future years otherwise. So if you did have to cut Jones, I mean, it's going to cost you $20-some in cap, which is really nothing. And at that point, it's worth the risk. And when I did say the best QB contract in the league, it was because of these numbers, with the idea of, cool, he's a QB2 in a super flex league for minimal money. I mean, Geno just went for what, $55? I think I would take Daniel Jones over Geno with the cap numbers involved without question. If the cap numbers didn't exist, I think I'd have to think about it. But 55 on a 1 year versus 16.26. I don't know. I think I would lean Jones there, um, but it is interesting. Tight end, this is. I feel like this is something we talk about with you a lot with this Kyle Pitts thing. Um, are you excited that there should now be some like this? This has got to be it, right? Like if it doesn't happen now, it's not gonna happen. I would think. Is that where your head's at with Pitts, or is he a potential cut candidate? Do you plan on holding him? Are you going to sell if he goes off in week one? Like, talk to me about your toxic Kyle Pitts relationship.
So I'm excited for some clarity here, because if he can't get it done now with like a good quarterback and a good offensive coordinator slash head coach there, it's just not going to happen. So I'll know whether I should cut bait on him or not, or whether he's going to be worth it to keep around, because he has some pretty big cap that's coming.
Yeah, how does his cap number influence your decision? Right, 127 this year, 183 and 280. I mean, $100 jump from 25 to 26. That's not Mike Evans, Josh Allen, Trey Lance worthy, but that's got to be awfully close to it.
Yeah, it is problematic. Especially when you couple it with Najee's contracts.
Yeah.
Is when these were startup contracts, and both these guys were coming off like really good rookie seasons. Great, I got these guys I can build around, and just like both of them nosedive immediately. That's just kind of the story of my startup draft. So, if they can't perform, I got some decisions to make, but we can't restructure now, so there's options. But I need to see, what he's going to do.
Then make decisions from there. Yeah. So let's talk about that a bit. When it came to your roster moves, not a single restructure, unless I'm crazy. Hold on. Was there one? No, I don't think so. Right? It was just all re-signs for you, right? David Montgomery, Wan'Dale Robinson, Demario Douglas, all brought back. Darnold brought back. You held over Joe Bobo and Fant, who were on your taxi. Was there ever a thought to maybe restructuring one of these guys and trying to front load them or offload, like push it further back or pull it more this way or that way, or were you just focused on really getting some of those guys who are key players back for you?
So I thought about it. My big concern there is I have 3 first-round picks this year, so I still got a lot of money I got to allocate to that. And it wouldn't leave me with a lot of wiggle room to maneuver, beyond that without, making more additional roster moves or trying to, get some more cap dollars from somebody else.
Right.
So I kind of just left it alone. Kind of reevaluate after the season.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in a situation where I'm causing myself huge cap problems when my team's not competitive.
Yeah.
There's too many ifs and buts in play right now for me to kind of do that. I feel like I'm gonna hold off.
Good news is the cap in the future isn't real. If you ask 2 of us in particular, so
we got some Mickey Loomises in this league. For sure.
Yeah. So let's kind of wrap this up a bit. The last real question I have for you is, what, if you want to share, any thoughts on how the next couple picks are going to go? You're sitting at, is it 109 and 110?
Yeah.
So is there anybody that you're hoping falls to you? Obviously, you probably don't want to go ahead and say specific names because then, 107, 108 holds you hostage, right? But, are there players that you've eyed there that are the people that you're aiming for? Or are you just going to say, man, let's just see how this goes? Are you looking to move up and package them together and maybe move up for another receiver that you have higher than the others, or another quarterback to give you some more solidification there? Or share as much as you're willing about your strategy so we can use it against you.
Really all options are on the table. The benefit of being where I am is my team still needs quarterbacks, still needs running backs, still needs receivers, still needs even maybe a productive tight end. So I could go any one of those directions, and I'm kind of able to just see what falls to me. And then trading's always an option. If I don't like what's available there, or if I think I can make a move. So I haven't really decided. I'm always big on seeing how the draft falls because unexpected things always happen.
Right.
Um, players that you wouldn't even consider at a spot will go well before, and that just makes somebody else that's more valuable in your eyes available to you. So just wait and see approach, basically.
Have you had any preliminary talks with anybody, or not even?
Yeah, I've had a couple of guys reach out to me. Um, you know, more so about the two later picks. People reached out to me about before too, but I was only ever going to be moving up with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Up, not down.
To go get Marv. But yeah, I've had some preliminary discussions, and it's kind of just what I said. I want to see how things are falling, but I'm totally willing to move pieces for the right deal.
Yeah. Do you agree with the statement? I think I asked this once last year, and I think it's a fun conversation that the pick will never have more value than when you're on the clock. Are you a believer in that statement, or do you feel differently? And then we'll really wrap this up. I just think that's such a fun dynasty philosophy question.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely believe that, especially mid-draft. Guys get really hungry, and sometimes it's just the nature of us fantasy degenerates, like
Yeah.
something, you know.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mix.
Yeah.
But,
Not naming names, right?
Putting this pick in,
Yeah.
but so it's true. Like guys get really stir crazy, and even in some of the other drafts we're doing, where I don't really have picks, and it's like, ooh, maybe I should trade up. Maybe I should trade up. Kind of fighting the urge in a lot of cases. But I definitely agree with that.
All right, good stuff. All right, well, that does it for us. 103, 104 with Chase next. We might try to pull somebody else in to do that with us. I think what we're going to do is basically just, if you don't pick, we'll do like a mini recap with you at some point in the season. I don't know, it depends. But I think it would also be fun to get like Chase and somebody else in here that doesn't have a pick in the first round. But then again, we saw shenanigans last year where it kind of blew up with all Cam doing a lot of moves and people moving here and there. And I think that I know I unplugged my headphones, but you can still hear me, so it's okay. I think that this is where it starts to get weird because nobody knows what happens next. There is no the right answer. I think at 101 is Caleb. The right answer at 102 is Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know if there is a right answer at 103, and that's where we're going to be at, and that's where it's going to get fun. So, any final thoughts, Flynn? Wow. Any final thoughts, Flynn, before we wrap this up?
Yeah, looking forward to see what Chase is going to do here. If he's going to stay put, if he's going to start just keep piling up those picks, trade back a little bit. I'm looking forward to getting to my picks later in the draft. So I don't know. I'm just excited to finally get some movement here.
Yeah, I really hope. I think the way that we want to do this, we've alluded to in the chat. Hopefully, we get to your picks by Saturday. Alan said he's going to be at a wedding in Jamaica for his pick, and he's like, "There's a pretty good chance I'm going to be blasted on the video." I'm like, "That's fine." I would love to get a recording of you announcing your people. If you don't move up, if it all goes away while you're at the game, and then we'll just play the video or something like that, and then have somebody else on. I think that'd be fun. So, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, see what we can do.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does it for us this week or today or whatever the heck we're doing. We will see you soon, Chase. Flynn, thanks for the time, especially on Mother's Day. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man.